Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm your host, Michelle Stern. So, today we're going to be looking at Mark Golding's response to the scandal that has been rocking the PNP. And we're going to compare it to what was heard in the recordings and ask whether his explanation addresses the real issues, the issues that matters the most to the Jamaican people, particularly the people in Western Jamaica. What matters the most to the people of Western Jamaica is how and when will they be able to get their lives and their livelihood back in order. And it seems to me that these undermining saboteurs of Rise United, the parasites within the PNP, are hell-bent on making sure that that doesn't happen, because they believe that this is the only way they're going to be able to win the next general election and plant themselves into Jamaica House. Now, if Mark Golding believed this statement he put out would put the controversy to rest, he made a sad mistake. These leaked recordings have sparked outrage, rightly so, because of what they reveal about the conversations taking place among PNP members in a WhatsApp group. The recordings captured discussions by two risers about ways and means, strategies they may use to frustrate the work of NARA, including slowing up project approvals through parish councils under PNP control. And the two that they are speaking about would be the Westmoreland and the Hanover parish councils. And this coming out of the mouth of a man who is not even sitting as a councillor in either parish councils. Had it not been for the way in which NARA was set up, his argument was they would have been in a position to slow up the projects through the parish council. That is the long and short of what he was saying. The recordings also included discussions that were targeting Major General Anthony Anderson after he was appointed as Chief Executive Officer of NARA. Now, Major General Anthony Anderson is no ordinary public servant. He devoted decades to serving Jamaica, and he served Jamaica with distinction. First, as the Chief of Defense Staff of the Jamaica Defense Force, and later as Commissioner of Police. During his tenure as Commissioner, Jamaica experienced the beginning of a sustained decline in murders, something that we've been trying for years, at least in the 90s when it first spiked. We have been trying, and we had minor successes, and then back up it went again. But under Major General Anthony Anderson, we have been able to lower the murder rate as well as other major crimes. And that was what earned him widespread respect for his leadership and commitment to public service. And this is an achievement many Jamaicans at home and abroad regard as important, an important turning point in the country's fight against crime. Now, Mark Golding says none of this represents official PNP policy. None of what it was that you heard being discussed between the two risers. Not only are they risers, but they also sit on the NEC, the People's National Party's highest decision-making body outside of the annual conference. And Mark Golding is saying that none of what you heard in the recording represents official PNP policy. He insists the conversations, sometimes he called discussions, took place in a private WhatsApp group outside any official party forum, without the participation of party officers, and therefore cannot be attributed to the PNP. That is the long and short of what he was saying. That is what he wants you and I to think. But does that explanation, though, answer the real issue? Or is the public not entitled to ask whether party members heard to be discussing what appears to be ways and means of undermining a major $6.7 billion US national infrastructure program, borrowed money that every single Jamaican taxpayer will have to pay back, including those unborn. And discrediting a respected public servant, is it reasonable to ask the public to simply dismiss those conversations as personal views, as Mark Golding did before the NEC? That's a question I should think that Jamaica would want answered. This man trying to cloak himself as a man of integrity dismiss those corrupt conversations with not even as much as a slap on the wrist, not even as much as a criticism coming out of his own mouth, and talk about they were the personal views of the party members? And you are a man of integrity? You must be joking. What was missing from Mark Golding's statement that he hurriedly left off to get on to other business, as if what he read at the NEC was not important? It's not important. According to him, I wanted to say something on the issue that is swirling out there about these leaked recordings. And I think it's necessary for us to say something. So that was the reason for the statement that he made at the NEC, because of the scandal and the effect that it is having on the minds of the Jamaican people in terms of exposing them as the saboteurs and underminers, the same set of people who undermined their own party in 2020 and caused it to lose the election so them can take it over. These are the same people sitting down in a WhatsApp group discussing how it is them can make NARA fail. Because if they don't make it fail, then could be looking at an electoral loss. That's it, long and short of what they were saying. And so he found it necessary to say something about it. After all, the public was clamoring. People were asking how it is that him so silent. And having said a few lines, he then said at the end, so with that clarified, I just want to turn to the matters at hand. He wanted to say something, and so he said it. And now it's time, according to him, to move on. Right? We should not take this matter serious. No, not serious. And I mean, it's not like everybody in Jamaica already know that we are traitors, underminers, and saboteurs. Big deal. A WhatsApp group was formed, a private WhatsApp group, which meant that there were specially invited persons who were added to that group, while others were excluded. That is what that would mean. So when Mark Golding denied that this was an official PNP WhatsApp group, then what he admitted to was that it was a rise group comprising the officer corps and a few select others. And when you consider the conversation that they were having, there is absolutely no way they could have been having that kind of conversation with authentic PNP in that group.
A member of the PNP's powerful National Executive Committee, NEC, is suggesting that the corruption card can't be drawn against Chief Executive Officer of the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, Major General Anthony Anderson. The comment was made in a PNP WhatsApp group around the time General Anderson was named as the NARA boss in late May this year. The PNP appeared to be discussing what points to use to attack the government's implementation of NARA. It was suggested that casting General Anderson as a facilitator of corruption would not fly with the public given his record in public service.
Maria, the concern I'm raising is this, that Anderson's track record is not one full of blemish that it will be so easy to attach certain things to him. The corruption argument not going to be attached to him so easily, right? In my humble opinion, I think they've outsmarted us and then put in this man now to be a CEO and whatever. Reality is we need to ensure that the average Jamaican is saying we don't care who he is. He could have full of integrity like, wow, he could have been whatever. He's the man who sought out all of the hurricane relief that got it to Jamaica, whether we know it or not. So I would love for us to be able to put that information together, package it for the ground so that the average Jamaican can get that information.
Another PNP NEC member told colleagues that the ruling JLP saw Nara's successful implementation as their ticket to a fourth term in office. He said the PNP had to play the right kind of ball game in light of Nara's political importance.
Bear in mind that the Nara bill is what the JLP sees as its glory and its savior for a fourth term and a fifth term and whatever. Speaking to some of them recently, some of the operatives, they see Nara as their way out to get back in tune with the Jamaican public, because they know them in a bad state, the public itself, with the cost of living and everything. So they see Nara as a saving grace, and they are going to do everything in their power to try to get whatever done, which means bypassing like our parish council, which, you know, probably would do delay tactics and don't get it, which is why they did it that way. But safety standards and these things is a concern. So, well, let's play our ball game of politics.
So Mark Golding decided to address the controversy, the scandal, as a matter of fact. And the way the man sounded and the way the man looked is as if them stick him up. I don't know who in the PNP stick him up, but he was standing before the NEC, the two-day NEC that is usually held in July of every year, and delivered of himself this. He started by saying, I wanted to say something on the issue that is swirling out there about these leaked recordings. Swirling, that means it gone viral. It's a scandal that is dogging his every step. And so him feel now that him should address it because they were under pressure. People were asking, how can this be that you have your two party members saying this that you just heard in Nationwide News report? Had NARA not been set up the way it's set up, them could have slow it up, knowing that the government wanted to be implemented quickly to alleviate the pressure on the people and, of course, a pressure on themselves. Them would have been in a position through the municipal corporations, what I'm called parish councils, to slow it up and make sure so them not get it done. 6.7 billion US dollars that were borrowed. The whole heap of people in a Western Jamaica suffering, quite a number of them PNP people, because they went and voted and put them back in. Right? They weren't thinking about them. What they were thinking about is political power and how they can gain political office. And if they can get NARA to fail, then that would definitely ensure that the JLP will not be able to have anything to campaign on in the next general election. They would have all the balls in their court to hammer the government on, to say that them get the 6.7 billion US and them wasted it. No project was ever completed and the people are suffering and them had to keep that up for 5 years. That is the import of what you were hearing in that discussion between those two NEC and executive members, the two risers, Golding'S people. And that's a serious matter. They got caught with them pants down. And the rise boss and his deputy did not know how to respond. So they had to say something. And that decision was made for them. They had to distance the PNP from this scandal created by their very own treacherous risers. And that Mark Golding did in that statement he read out before the NEC, disassociating the PNP from the comments without any addition about what is going to happen to those party members who could be thinking of doing such a disgraceful thing. Nary a word came out of Mark Golding's mouth. He himself did not condemn the actions of his colleagues, and he certainly did not seek to distance himself. He never said what I, as the party president, thought about what was being said. Instead, he ended by saying, so, with that clarified, I just want to turn to the matter at hand. That's it for him. That's it for him. This does not appear to me, given his body language, that he willingly spoke those words to the NEC. But if I were to hazard a guess, it was the authentic PNP that put him under pressure. Must have insisted that him read it to the NEC. Them stick him up. He did not look like a man who wanted to read that to the NEC. He never wanted to say a word, but of course, he had to say something. And they told him what it is that he must say. You had better distance the PNP from this mess. Everybody knows that the PNP is divided into two. You have PNP and you have Rise United. And they clearly, when they did their investigation, found out some things about what was being said and discussed in that group. They were never going to come and tell us, and that is understandable. But they put down them foot and stick him up. He may have managed to distance the PNP from the scandal, but what he failed to do was to distance himself.
I get into the issues relating to this National Executive Council meeting. I wanted to say something on the issue that's swirling out there about these leaked recordings. And I think it's necessary for us to say something.
I want you guys to take a very close look at his body language. Look at his facial expressions. Him look worried to you. Him look very worried to me.
The People's National Party chose not to comment publicly on that matter until we had the facts before us. Our review is now complete, and it established three things. Firstly, the conversation in which those leaked recordings took place did not happen in any official party forum. Secondly, no party officer, no officer of the party participated in that discussion. And thirdly, the PNP has no official NEC or executive WhatsApp group. That doesn't exist. And certainly not where party policy is made. This was a WhatsApp group formed by individuals within the party, and the views expressed were their personal views. So those recordings do not represent the official position of the PNP or any policy of the PNP. The PNP takes responsibility for its official positions. Those are set by our constitutional organs, such as this National Executive Council or the Executive Committee of the party, and those that are communicated by our authorized representatives and shown through our public actions or through our public media outlets, social media outlets, and so on. So with that clarified, I just want to turn to the matter at hand.
What was missing from what it was that Mark Golding read in that statement? Not a word of criticism, not a statement of condemnation for what was said in that group. Well, he said it is not the PNP's official position. Of course not. But isn't it the riser's official position? The way in which the statement of his was structured, it was if they kept talking about the PNP, distancing the PNP from the statements in the group. He, though, did not seek to distance himself from the discussion in the group, knowing well that it was his risers, his people, that them support and put on lists to be elected to the NEC or nominated by him, that were having this discussion. He said in his statement to the NEC, decisions are made through our constitutional organizations, such as the NEC and the Executive Committee. But clearly, this particular group was set up, this private WhatsApp group, in order to have a different type of conversation from what would normally be decided by the NEC and the Executive Committee. And it comprised these two risers and evidently other party officers. So you can well imagine when they heard that there was a leak from the group, how they must have been extremely, extremely alarmed. and carried out an investigation immediately. It was important for them to find out just what was leaked from that group. Very important. They needed to know what Cliff Hughes had. So they would have called up, I would expect, Mario or the other young lady or both, and asked them to give them a transcript or screenshots, or give them phone, let them see what it was that they were saying. And they don't know what was leaked. They don't know what Cliff Hughes had, so they had to go back and search. In that particular strain of the discussion, they wanted to know if anybody of caliber in the party participated. Like, for instance, Laba Laba Mount Dayton Campbell. If, as a party officer and a riser, he was in that group, because then that would have been very, very damaging. So they found out that no party officer had participated in that discussion. Based upon the kind of conversations that they were having, I think I can bet a little money that two such party officers, the two vice presidents, Natalie Nita Garvey and Mikhail Phillips, it is very doubtful that they would have been in that group. You can't put people in like them in that group and then go have them kind of conversation and don't expect to hear something about it in the group. I think we can safely say that Donna Scott Motley, the leader of opposition business in the Senate, and Philip Paulwell very likely weren't in the group either, but I wouldn't put nothing past Philip Paulwell, Mr. Coward. So him could have been in the group. So the persons that I would expect to be in the group would be the chairman, the general secretary, the four deputy general secretary. I'm not saying there were, but these are party officers, and it's possible that they were in that group. The national treasurer, legal advisor, and two of the four vice presidents. The PNP president is also a party officer. Was he in that group? I think I'd like to take a little bet on it. I don't know if anybody would like to take me up on this bet, but I would like to make a little bet on it that Mark Golding and Peter Bunting was also part of that group. Yes. I believe that that was a rise group that was set up with the party officers, with the exception of Natalie Nita Garvey and Mikhail Phillips. And the whole of the other one, then with the officers were in there. And whichever other NEC member or executive members they wanted to put in the group, such as Bunting, yes, I would not be surprised. And I can well imagine how anxious they were and why they were silent for so long. They had no idea who leaked it, and so they have no idea what it is that Cliff Hughes has. Well, if Cliffy and Georgie Porgy have any more information for us, then playing with them cards very close to them chest. But I suppose, as old time people would say, time longer than rope. So we wait. Folks, I think I'm going to leave it here. I think I've said a lot. Let me know what you think about what Mark Golding said at the National Executive Committee. The statement that was put in his hand, do you believe he was the one who wrote that statement, or do you believe it was the authentic PNP? Stick him up and tell him he had better get the PNP out of this mess. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to ask everyone, please, if you have not done so yet, please remember to give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to share. Share, please. Share. And subscribe. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.